and welcome to Live Parkinson's, Live an Exceptional Life. I'm your host, Chris Kustanbauter, and I've been living with Parkinson's for the past 14 years. The mission of this podcast is to help people living with Parkinson's live an exceptional quality of life. Today's topic is Movement Matters, How Wearables and Apps Empower Parkinson's Exercise Routines. Now, before we get started, I have a brief disclaimer. This podcast is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose or treat Parkinson's disease. Please follow the treatment plan prescribed by your healthcare professional. This podcast is based on my own personal experiences and information from research that I've collected and interviews with experts. It's for informational purposes only. Have you heard about wearable technologies and phone apps that can help you track your exercise and fitness goals, but are confused by the options, or maybe you're just confused whether or not they're right for you? Well, then this podcast is for you. Now, before we dive into the specific details of today's podcast, I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions. I know many of us make New Year's resolutions each January. And while I was doing research for this podcast, I came across an interesting article from Forbes Health that was entitled 2024 New Year's Resolutions. Nearly half cite fitness as their top priority. Now, in 2023, their top priority for respondents in their survey was improving mental health. So this was a significant shift based on 2023's survey. In the Forbes survey of 1,000 U.S. adults, 48% noted that improving fitness and health was their main priority for 2024. That compared with losing weight at 34% and improving diet at 32%, which both came in at number 4 and number 5. So again, 48% of people in this year's survey said that fitness and improving their physical health was the most important priority for going into 2024. Now, I broke this podcast down into 3 specific segments. In the first segment, we're going to discuss the power of movement. We'll discuss the benefits of exercise for living a great quality of life with Parkinson's and discuss specific exercises that can keep you active and socially engaged. In segment 2, we'll explore the different types of wearable technologies and apps that can be used to track exercise and monitor your results. We'll discuss features and functionality of each of the technologies being discussed. And then finally, in segment 3, we'll provide some tips and tricks for choosing the right wearable and apps for your individual needs and how you can integrate wearable technologies into your exercise routine. All right, so let's get started and look at the power of movement and exercise on your Parkinson's symptoms. As I've mentioned in several other podcasts, exercise is one of the key strategies that I've used to lead an exceptional quality of life this past 14 years. Now, I know that exercise might seem like a daunting undertaking, especially if you haven't exercised in a while. You're going to be sore, you're going to be cranky, but exercise is important to help both your movement and controlling a lot of your Parkinson's symptoms. So exercise is one of the key things that can help you stay active and lead a great quality of life. But I think it's crucial that you understand that exercise isn't just beneficial, it's a potent tool for managing your Parkinson's and improving your quality of life. Now, I know that seems like a pretty bold statement, so let's examine some of the benefits that exercise can provide and are backed by clinical studies. Okay, so let's start with benefit number 1, which is improved movement. Exercise is going to directly target the brain-muscle connection, helping you retain neural pathways and refine your motor skills. It's especially important when you're learning any type of new skill. One of the problems we have with Parkinson's, of course, is we lose some of our fine motor skills, whether it be trying to button your shirt, whether it be trying to pick things up. And that's one of the reasons I decided to play guitars, to help with motor skills. So in addition, exercise is going to help you with that. Brain-muscle connection translates to smoother movements, better balance, and increased agility, helping to reduce the risk of falls. Because ultimately, that's the key goal, is we want to reduce the risk of falls so that we don't end up coming down with a severe injury and end up in a rehab center for a long time. So if we can have better movements and better balance, we can reduce the risk of falls. Another is tremors. Physical activity can actually lessen the severity and frequency of tremors, which makes your daily tasks easier and keeps you more independent. We all experience tremors, and as you know, they can be both physically bothersome when you're trying to do things, require fine motor skills. And a lot of times they're emotionally bothersome as well because people are concerned with, geez, people are looking at me because I have tremors. So exercise can help you lessen the severity and frequency of your tremors. Another benefit is it strengthens muscles. Exercise is going to help target and build and strengthen muscles. Think of strength training. If you want to build your biceps, you do curls. Tricep work, you can do tricep extensions and tricep push downs. Bench press to work on your chest, lunges for legs. So exercise can help you strengthen specific muscles depending on where you're the weakest. So stronger muscles are going to help counteract the muscle rigidity and weakness that people with Parkinson's often have, and which is going to affect your posture and your gait. The more you let your shoulders become stooped and you bend down, it's going to affect your gait, your posture, and even your balance. So exercise can help with that as well. Another is enhanced mood. Exercise has a profound impact on the mood and the mental well-being. It helps you stimulate the release of endorphins, and we talked about those before, that they're those feel-good neurotransmitters that are going to help you reduce your anxiety and depression. Another is improved cognitive function. And research has shown that regular exercise can improve your cognitive function and memory potential, even slowing the progression of cognitive decline associated with Parkinson's. And this is why I like to do dual exercises. And recall that dual exercises are when you include both physical and mental activities in the same activity. So, for example, I might be working on balance, and if I'm standing on one foot, I might say the months of the year backwards. Or if I'm doing a walking exercise, I may count to 100 by threes. Or spelling words is another thing that you can include in exercise, and that is going to help improve your cognitive function as well. Another benefit is improved sleep. One of the podcasts I have done previously, we talked about sleep disturbances such as insomnia and excessive daytime sleepiness. So we all experience sleep disturbances, and they're common in people with Parkinson's. And I talked about my struggles with insomnia. I don't have any trouble falling asleep. My trouble is staying asleep. I usually wake up several times in the middle of the night and then end up getting out of bed, usually around 3 o'clock in the morning. So it gives me an opportunity, I guess, to prepare for the podcast. So I guess there's positives and negatives to both. So exercise is going to help promote better sleep quality and duration. So hopefully it helps you, the more you exercise, it's going to help you sleep better and sleep longer as well. And then finally, community connection. Participating in a group exercise classes or finding an exercise buddy can help combat social isolation because you have somebody holding you accountable. And it also fosters a sense of belonging. I do a number of group fitness classes, and one of the reasons I do the group fitness classes is because of the camaraderie of the people that are in the class. Everybody cheers each other on. We always talk before and after class, so it's a great time for social interaction, and I built a lot of new friends, or made a lot of new friends, and built a lot of great relationships through group fitness classes. And then also, having a buddy helps keep you accountable as well. So look for, if you have the opportunity, don't feel embarrassed, participate in group fitness classes because they can make adjustments to any of the moves that they make so that everybody is able to participate in the class. So there's all kinds of different options that they can offer you to help make sure that you're a great part of the class. Okay, so those were the benefits of exercise. Now let's take a look at some specific exercises that you can engage in to help with your Parkinson's symptoms. But first, it's important to incorporate a wide variety of exercises that you enjoy. And that's the key word there, you enjoy. Because if you don't like doing them, you're not going to exercise. So you're going to want to make sure that you select exercises that you enjoy. And that's going to help you get into a routine as well. And that's the other key. So in order to get the maximum benefit, you want to be consistent. And one of the ways you're consistent is if you're enjoying whatever the activity it is, and you actually look forward to going and doing it. I did do a podcast on starting a new exercise program for Parkinson's. So if you have the opportunity to go back and listen to that, it has some good information on how to start and maintain an exercise program. And then your exercise program should include a wide variety of exercises, including aerobic exercises, and they're designed to get your heart rate and breathing up. This would include brisk walking, swimming, cycling, running, and these help build your endurance. They help build your cardio health as well. And then another area that you want to focus on is strength training. And I do a lot of strength training, but I usually do it with lighter weights and more repetitions. I'm not trying to get big and bulky anymore. When I was younger, I played high school and college football, and I needed to lift heavier weights then. But being a 60-year-old man with Parkinson's, I just need to maintain my strength and flexibility and movement. So I do lighter weights or resistance bands, and I do more repetitions. So that helps keep me toned. Balance exercises is the next one. Tai Chi and yoga are great exercises for improving your balance. And then flexibility exercises like stretching and gentle yoga. These can help you reduce the risk of falls and help you lead a great quality of life. Just make sure number one, you enjoy the activity that you're doing. You do it on a consistent basis to get the maximum benefit, and that you include a wide array of different activities. Now that we understand the benefits of exercise and the types of exercise that should be included to help manage our Parkinson's symptoms, let's turn our attention to exploring the different types of wearable technologies. I'm not sure if you're all aware of the different types of wearable technologies. I happen to wear one. Now, there's two different types. There's commercially available wearable technologies, and then there's some that you work through your healthcare provider to gather information about your Parkinson's symptoms. So I'll try to touch on both, but the main focus of this one will be on commercially available wearable technologies, because ideally you'd like to be able to go out and you either go online or go to a retail store, purchase your wearable technology, and then begin using it right away, and then use it to track your exercise and your progress as well. Now, I know staying motivated and on track with your Parkinson's exercise program can be a challenge. But thankfully, innovative wearable technologies are emerging to help lend a helping hand, whether we wear them on our wrist or our ankle. Here's a breakdown of some of the wearable technologies and how they can benefit your routine. So let's start with the wrist-worn devices. Now, again, we're going to talk about the commercially available devices because they're the ones that are the most cost-effective and easily accessible. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll talk briefly about the ones that you work with through your healthcare professional. So there's a lot of popular choices out there. I wanted to start with smartwatches because they're the most popular. And there's a lot of different popular choices out there. For instance, the Apple Watch is the first one I'll touch on. And I personally happen to wear an Apple Watch. So I'm going to be talking about Apple Watches from my own personal experiences. Not that that's necessarily the best. It's the one that I've been using and I really enjoy it. But I'm also going to touch on the other ones that are out there as well. So besides the Apple Watch, other wrist-worn wearable devices include the Samsung Galaxy, and that runs on the Android system. And it offers some of the same features that the Apple Watch does, like step counting, heart rate monitoring, and fall detection. And then in addition, you also have some smartwatches like the Garmin Vivo Active 4, which have built-in fitness tracking, but they also include GPS for those people that are active in outdoor activities. And then Fitbit is also another wearable wrist-worn device. Now, I used to have Fitbits probably about 10 years ago. One of the problems that I had with them is that at the time they didn't offer a lot of benefits. Mainly it was they tracked your steps, and I think they did a little bit with sleep at the time. One of the problems I had with them is they didn't last very long before I'd have to buy another one. They just quit working. But since then, they've been bought by Google, and they've relaunched. And so Fitbit offers a lot of different benefits and features as well that we'll talk about in terms of wrist-worn devices. Those are the commercial wearable technologies that we're going to talk about. There are some Parkinson's-specific devices, and then these work in conjunction with your healthcare provider, so they're not necessarily commercially available on the market. And the one I'll mention is the Kinetograph. And what that does is it focuses tracking on specific Parkinson's symptoms like your tremors, bradykinesia, which is your slowness of movement, and dyskinesia is your involuntary movements. And then what they'll do is they provide detailed data and feedback back to your healthcare provider to help them maximize your treatment program by helping to adjust your medication program and things like that. So there's also some other types of worn devices that aren't worn on the wrist, and those would include gait analyzers. And these can be worn on the ankles. And the one that I'm going to be touching on is the Sensory Smart Sock, which includes a computer chip to track your stride length, your cadence, and some of your turn angles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So how quickly you turn. Are you able to turn rapidly at sharp angles, or do you need a big wide angle to turn? They also provide valuable insights into your walking patterns, and they can help identify areas for improvement. There's also smart shoes. Under Armour makes a shoe that has a technology in it that can track fitness. And what they do is they have embedded sensors that track your movement, balance, and your gait. And then the shoes can provide real-time feedback and even vibrate to guide your steps and improve your gait stability. So those are the wearable technologies that we're going to be talking about, the wrist worn, and then the gait analyzers like your socks and your shoes. There's some additional wearables out there. There's headbands that track your brain activity and biofeedback. I'm not going to touch a lot on those because they're expensive and you don't find them very often. But some other things that you can use as well are voice assistants. There's smart speakers like Google Home or Amazon Echo that you can use to help set exercise reminders and provide motivational prompts and even guide you through simple workouts. So you can use those technologies for simple workouts in your basement at home or in your living room. And then beyond tracking, now remember, wearables are just tools. The real benefit lies in how you use the data they provide. You want to use the insights to adjust your exercise program and then consult your healthcare professional for guidance. And then also it's key to remember to celebrate your success along the way. Remember, they're just tools. They're going to help motivate you, give you how you're doing in your exercise journey, but then you also want to use them as well to help celebrate your successes. And then with the right approach, these technologies can turn exercise into a more engaging experience and help you manage your Parkinson symptoms. And then if you're managing your Parkinson symptoms well, that's going to lead to a better quality of life. Now, I just want to provide some additional tips regarding your wearables. You want to consider your specific needs and preferences when choosing a wearable. I typically like to wear the wrist worn because I typically wear a watch anyway, and it makes it more convenient for me to be able to look at my wrist than have to wear a sock or a shoe and then download data or try to extract data in a different manner. And then you want to look for devices with features that align with your exercise goals. So what is it that you want to track? Are you a swimmer and you want to track your lap swimming, your lap times, your heart rate, and those type of things? Or are you more concerned with measuring your gait and your stride length and those type of things? So it's important to determine what are the features that are going to align best with what your exercise plans are. Before you go out and buy anything as well, you want to read reviews and compare different models before making a purchase. Now, I talked about I have an Apple Watch, and one of the reasons I like the Apple Watch is I also have an iPhone and an iPad, and I'm able to sync up all the data between the three. Because I have experience with the Apple products, I deferred to the Apple Watch, and so that was one of the reasons that I selected the Apple Watch. And then when you select whatever the technology happens to be, you want to start with simple tracking and then gradually incorporate more advanced features. You know, some of these can track a lot of different things and you can get overwhelmed and end up not using it at all. So start simple, and then once you start understanding what the technology can do for you, then you can add more advanced features. And then most importantly, have fun and enjoy the process of exercising. Remember, we talked about if you enjoy exercise, then you're going to make sure that you participate in it. So let's take a look at some of the features and functionalities of some of the most popular wearable technologies. And I'm going to start with the Apple Watch again, because that's something that I use and I highly recommend it. And one of the benefits of the Apple Watch is it tracks a lot of different health measures, and it'll share you. And one of the benefits too is if you have friends, we talked about having an exercise buddy, you can share your data with other people. Another thing it does is it can detect falls, and it motivates you through challenges. usually each month it'll have some type of challenge, and it gives you rewards. Now, some of the functions that I like about the Apple Watch is it tracks and computes over 150 different types of health data activity. It'll track your speed, your stride length, your exercise. It'll even do your clinical oxygen saturation, your resting heart rate. So I can tell when my heart rate gets above a certain threshold, then I make sure that I slow down to allow my heart rate to come back down. Even using the newer ones for ECG waveform and atrial fibrillation detection. So for what they call AFib, where your heart abnormally starts beating more rapidly, and the problem with that is it can lead to heart attacks and strokes. So people with AFib need to make sure that they see their healthcare professional to keep their AFib in check, and usually that's done through medication. Track sleep. Again, I talked about sleep, and that's one of the problems that I have, but it'll help you track your sleep. And you can also use it for breathing and meditation and mindfulness exercises. So these technologies can do a lot of different things, and that's one of the benefits that I like about the Apple Watch. And again, I talked about it integrating with the other Apple technologies. And it can help you capture relevant measures like your steps, your gait, and your activity. And now, how do I use it? I use it for both my group fitness activities. One of the benefits that I like about the Apple Watch, and again, I don't have experience with some of the other products that we're going to be talking about, like the Samsung Galaxy, and I do have some prior experience with the Fitbit, but one of the things I use the Apple Watch for is group fitness. When I click on the workouts, it brings up a whole list of different things, the indoor and outdoor walking, cross-training, swimming, yoga. So I can use these to select a specific type of activity, and it'll track certain features based on that activity, which I really like. One of the things I use it for as well is swimming. I do lap swimming 3 times a week, and typically I swim a mile. But the nice thing about the Apple Watch is that it'll track the number of laps that I've completed. It'll give me the lap times per 100 yards. So, for instance, if I was swimming a mile, it might tell me at the end that my 100-yard split times were 2 minutes and 18 seconds, for example. It'll track my heart rate. It'll track the time. And so it's a great way for me to keep track of my distance in swimming as well. It'll give me the yards or the meters that I've completed. Now, the other nice thing about the Apple Watch, and saying that the others are similar as well, is that it's waterproof, and that it's waterproof up to a certain distance. And then when you get out of the pool, all I do is push a little button and it evacuates any water that was trapped in there. But it's great that I don't have to worry. I can get in the pool and swim with my wearable technology, and it's going to track all the information that I need. I will relate a story that I don't recommend that you swim with your wearable technology in salt water. Now, this is based just on past experience. I had an older Apple Watch, and I went to the beach with my family and friends and got in the water without thinking and dove into the waves, and I fried my Apple Watch. So I don't recommend that you use them to swim in the ocean or in the bay. That's just based on my past experience. They may have upgraded that, but I'm always still afraid to try that. So I make sure that I use it for fresh water only. The other thing I like about the Apple Watch is that there's other different types of activities that I can track. It tracks all my aerobic activities, and that includes walking, and I do a spin class, so it'll do that. I even use it for weight training. There's one of the functions on there is traditional weight training, and it'll track your strength training program for you. And then I use it for balance and flexibility with both the yoga and Pilates crossover classes that I take. And then it also gives you the option to add additional exercises as well. And then, so the nice thing I like about it is I can use it to select whatever parameters I want, and then I can use it for indoor and outdoor walking. If I'm doing outdoor walking, it's going to track my time, my elevation, active calories, and distance. And at the end of the workout and at the end of the day, it'll provide me with the total steps that I've gone, the total active calories that I burned, and it'll break it down into different exercises as well. Now, the Apple Watch, the current Apple Watch series, I did just a little internet search, which is their newest technology. And now all these technologies are a little bit on the pricier side, so you'll have to keep that in mind. But the Apple Watch was, for the Series 9, was $399. And then they have the Apple Watch SE, which is $249. And they include all the essentials, but it's a little bit later on price. All right, so let's switch our attention now to some of the features and benefits of the Samsung Galaxy. And I'm going to talk about the Samsung Galaxy 6, and this is strictly based on the research that I've done because, for full disclosure, I have not used or have any experience with the Samsung Galaxy. The Samsung Galaxy 6, based on my research, is the newest model of the Samsung family, and it offers a host of fitness and tracking benefits in a wearable device, and that includes advanced sleep coaching, personalized heart rate zones, and even advanced wellness insights. The Galaxy Watch periodically measures your heart rate to notify you when it detects an irregular rhythm, and that may suggest AFib, which I talked about before. Now, Apple Watch will do the same thing. I know I've been out walking. I like to walk in the woods. I have a little cabin in northern Pennsylvania, and like to do hiking and things like that, and outdoor activities. And I've had times when my Apple Watch will say your heart rate is higher than it's been the last 10 minutes. And so I may use that time to take a break. The other thing with back to the Galaxy 6 is it uses an advanced BIA sensor to give readings on, you can give you your body fat information, skeletal muscle, how much body water that you have, body mass index, and even help you maintain and keep track of your progress. So like the Apple Watch, the Samsung Galaxy 6 provides fall protection and notifies 911 if you have, or your emergency contact, depending on which one you have selected. And it also tracks your workouts, like I discussed with the Apple Watch, and it tracks over 90 different workouts. The cost for the Galaxy 6 is around $329 for the 43 millimeter face and $359 for the 47 millimeter face. And then they also have what they call the Galaxy Pro 5 with GPS tracking. So for people that like to do a lot of outdoor activities, that's around $500. So that's the Samsung Galaxy 6. And then moving on to the next wearable is the Fitbit. And I mentioned that Google purchased Fitbit, so it's a Google-based product. And Google also offers the Fitbit, but they also offer another wearable device that's similar to the Samsung Galaxy and the Apple Watch, and that's called the Google Pixel Watch 2. And like the other smartwatches, it offers heart rate monitoring, gives you the ability to select or generate workouts, and tracks workouts based on the workout that you select. And in addition, it checks for signs of stress, and it'll recommend deep breathing, and it has the full protection as well, like the other smartwatches. So the cost of that's about $350. So all those three technologies I talked about, the Apple Watch, the Samsung Galaxy, and the Google Pixel Watch, are roughly the same price, and they offer similar benefits. So again, it's based on what you're familiar with and what you like. I happen to like the Apple Watch, and that's the one that I would recommend. But again, a lot of people have the Android phone, so the Samsung Galaxy might be the better option, or some people like to use Google and Chrome products. In that case, the Google Pixel would be your best option. So use the option that fits your needs, which we talked about earlier. All right, now let's talk about some of the gait analyzers. And I talked about socks, and I want to talk about the Sensoria sock. It's called the V2, and then they also have a Sensoria Core. Now, these socks are a little on the expensive side. They're around $200, but they're infused with a proprietary 100% textile sensor, and which pairs with Bluetooth. Their Bluetooth Smart Cool, and It's a detachable core, so you can take it in and out, put it in and out of the sock. Now, the manufacturers of the Sensoria socks state that they deliver superior accuracy in step counting, speed, calories, altitude, and distance tracking. But it goes well beyond that to track cadence, foot landing technique, and impact. That gives you an impact score. Now, they're currently evaluating this sock in some of the Parkinson studies to see if the sock can help Parkinson's patients with their walking and their gait. Now, again, they're a little on the pricey side, but they do offer some benefits that to people that have issues with their gait. So you might want to keep that in mind. And then in terms of sneakers, there's the Under Armour HOVR, and it uses Under Armour's record sensory technology. And you use it when you walk or you run, and it works in conjunction with with the Under Armour Map My Run app. So you connect your sneaker to the Under Armour Map My Run app, and gives you full access to their data tracking and gait coaching based on your movements. So those are some of the wearable technologies. Now that we've looked at some of the wearable technologies, let's turn our attention to some of the other fitness tracking apps that you can help people with Parkinson's both track our exercise and stay consistent with the exercise program. So these are apps that you would use on your phone, your tablet or your computer, so you don't have to actually wear the technology. And the first one I want to talk about is the PD Warrior app. And it's designed for people in the early stages of Parkinson's. And they use graded exercises and levels within each exercise to enable the user to get the right level of challenge. So it's, again, for people with early Parkinson's disease. Now, the cost is to get full access to all the 35 exercises and the ability to change the default settings and set daily reminders. It's about $40. And you can download that. You can download 10 core exercises for free. So if you just want to try the PD Warrior app for free and just use the 10 exercises, you can do that. Or if you want access to the full range of the 35 exercises and some of the reminders and other things that go with it, it's around $40. And then one of the benefits with the PD Warrior app as well, it has a community that you can join to share your questions, your comments, and your insights with others. And that's available both on the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. Another app that's gotten a lot of press is called the Walking Tall app. And it's an app that was designed to improve your walking ability in as little as 5 minutes per day. And it was designed by people with Parkinson's, for people with Parkinson's. So let me restate that again. So it's designed by people with Parkinson's for people with Parkinson's. So one of the benefits of this app is it's based on people with Parkinson's experience. And this app can improve your walking confidence and may reduce fall risk with regular use. And it builds on evidence about what works for people with PD and is based on a clinical trial that was funded by Shake It Up Australian Foundation and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So it's based on clinical studies as well. So that's a good app to check into. It's called Walking Tall. And then another app is the Parky app. It's called Parky for Parkinson's. Parky number 4 Parkinson's. And it detects tremors and dyskinesia episodes as long as you wear your Apple Watch. And you can view your daily, weekly, and monthly reports and share it with your prescribing physician. Not necessarily a exercise app, but it's another app out there that can help you manage your Parkinson's symptoms. And then finally, I like to include cognitive training along with my exercise program. I talked about dual exercises, and there is an app that I want to talk about, and that's called the CogniFit app. And it provides games, puzzles, tests, and brain teasers to help with your memory and attention span and coordination and planning for people with Parkinson's. So it's a good app. I downloaded it myself after I did the research on it, and it's a great way to help with your cognitive function. Now let's try to tie all this together with some tips and tricks for incorporating wearable devices into your exercise program. Number one is know your priorities. What's your main goals? Do you want to track symptoms, improve specific movements, stay motivated, connect with others? What are your goals? Because certain wearable technologies or apps are going to provide different features and benefits. So you want to know up front what your main goals are. And then you want to know what exercises you enjoy. So you want to choose a wearable or app that complements your preferred activities. So one of the things I said is I like the Apple Watch because there's a lot of the different group fitness workouts already preloaded in there. And so that's a key to know as well. So what exercises do you enjoy, and does the wearable technology or the app give you those benefits? And then what level of support do you need? Do you prefer simple tracking or more detailed feedback and guidance? Because some of these apps and wearable technologies offer a lot of different features and functions and can get very technical. So you can either keep it simple, maybe you just want a Fitbit, or you can get more complicated into some of these high-end wearable technologies. Another thing is you want to consider what some of the specific features are. Now, each of the wearables is going to have different features and functions in terms of battery life, water resistance, comfort, and ease of use. How easy are they to sync your data up with? So what are the data syncing capabilities? And a lot of times people like to sync it with their phone. So what are the capabilities to be able to sync with your phone? If you're selecting an Android-based wearable technology, but you have an iPhone, they're probably not going to work in conjunction with each other. And then in terms of apps, you want to look for features like customizable exercise programs that track your symptoms. They give you progress reports. Maybe they give you motivational tools, but they're user-friendly and interactive. I know from a personal standpoint, I've downloaded apps in the past, and they're so complicated, I ended up deleting them because I couldn't figure out how to use it. The thing you want to keep in mind is safety. You want to choose a wearable. Some of them have medical-grade accuracy, and that'll track your symptoms like tremors. So if you need it for safety in terms of fall prevention as well, there's some things that you want to look into. And then you want to seek recommendations and review. Talk to your doctor or your physical therapist for their recommendations. You read online reviews and recommendations. And then, especially with apps, if they offer free trials and offers, then give them a try. Use the free option first. I do some websites and some other things as well. And there's things that I use where there's paid options and there's free options. So I always try to start out with the free option to make sure I like it and to understand the functionality before I would go and just dive in and pay for a yearly subscription. And then remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You want to explore and experiment until you find the right fit. Don't hesitate to try new things or even switch something if it's not working for you. And then most important, you want to find a tool that works with your exercise program and that you find enjoyable as well. Now, as a bonus tip, you want to take advantage of the communities. A lot of, whether it's a wearable technology or whether it's an app, a lot of them offer communities. And what I mean by communities is that you can, just like on Facebook, where there's Facebook groups, and you can talk to people that have similar issues and discuss questions or comments or reviews that you have. Now, let's discuss some of the strategies for integrating wearables and apps into your exercise routine. First, you want to start simple. Again, remember, begin with the basic features like step counting and maybe time and distance. And then if you gradually build into using the more advanced features, because if you get confused up front, then you're going to not end up using your technology and you're not going to get the benefits that you want from it. And then find the fun factor. You want to choose apps with game type elements or motivational prompts to keep you engaged. And some of your smartwatches do that as well. They give you challenges and rewards that are similar to what you might find in apps that give you motivational prompts. And then use playlist or podcast through your wearable to make your workouts more enjoyable. So maybe you're a type of person that likes to listen to a podcast while you're exercising, or you like to listen to music. I like to listen to different types of music based on the exercise that I'm doing. And then you want to set achievable goals. You want to use data from wearables or apps to set realistic and personalized goals. And again, realistic goals, if you're just starting out and you haven't been walking and you say, I'm going to start walking, don't start out saying I'm going to walk 8 miles the first day, because that's probably not an achievable goal. So set achievable goals. So you might want to say, all right, I haven't done any walking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk for 10 minutes the first 3 days, and then I'm going to build to 15 minutes after a week. And then a week later, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes. And then the next week, I'm going to get up to 30 minutes. So make sure you build into it. So you want to focus on small incremental improvements rather than trying to make these big drastic changes. But again, you want to celebrate your improvements and track your successes. So reward yourself as you achieve your goals. And then you want to personalize your routine. Many apps and wearables offer customizable exercise programs that allow you to input specific needs and preferences. And then use your wearable data to identify areas for improvement and adjust your exercise program accordingly. So as you're using a wearable, it's going to give you a lot of information. Take that information and say, okay, here's what's working well, here's what's not working, and I'm going to use that to help improve my exercise program. Now let's bring this all back together and identify challenges and offer some solutions for people with Parkinson's that are using wearable devices. Let's start with the challenges. Dexterity limitations. One of the issues with some of the wearable technologies is the symptoms like tremors and rigidity can make it difficult to put on and operate it to adjust wearables. So if you have trouble with your fine motor skills, they might be some of them might be difficult to put on and operate. So you want to keep that in mind as well. Sensory accuracy. Certain tremors or involuntary movements might be misinterpreted by your wearables and give you some inaccurate data. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Motivational adherence. Maintaining daily use of any technology requires intrinsic motivation, which can be difficult when you're feeling tired or fatigued. So if you don't have the motivation to go out and do it, you're probably not going to use your wearable technology. So that's one of the challenges that we have to overcome. Another challenge is going to be data overload and interpretation. Again, a lot of these wearables will give you so much data that you can get overloaded in terms of how much data there's available and how that relates to your symptoms and in how effective you are in your exercise program. So that's one of the challenges that needs to be overcome with these wearable technologies. And then cost and compatibility. Some of the, like I mentioned before, some of the high-end wearables can be expensive. And are they compatible with your existing phones or other healthcare platforms that you use with your physician? So those are the challenges again. So it's dexterity limitations, sensory accuracy. How accurate are they going to be if you have a lot of tremors? Motivation and adherence, data interpretation, and the cost. Now let's look at some of the solutions. They have accessible design. You want to look for wearables with easy to use buttons, large displays, and voice commands to overcome dexterity issues. Just like with your phone, if you have trouble typing on your phone, you can use the voice command system. You can use the similar technology on a lot of these wearables. You can use voice commands to do the tracking and start and stop your workouts. So find one that has easily accessible designs and that are easy for you to see. In terms of another solution would be for data clarity and support. You can use apps that should offer simplified data, visualizations, and actionable insights. So you want to select apps that are easy to use, but that give you the information that you need. Essentially, that's what we're trying to say there. And then user-friendly interfaces. You want to prioritize these innovative designs with A lot of times you can change the size of the icon, you can change the size of the text, and then use it for simple navigation to reduce your anxiety with using these technologies. So just with the old adage, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, use these technologies to make your life easier, not to make your life more difficult, because you don't want to add additional frustrations. And then finally, because some of these are expensive, check for subsidies and affordability. There are some affordable options. Some of them offer rental programs, and then sometimes insurance will cover it. So look for those areas where you might be able to get some subsidies or coupons or different things to help reduce the cost. And then finally, you want to look at technical and training support. So if you're buying a wearable technology and you're not real familiar with it, try to select one where it's easy to go online and get the technical support that you need. So those are wearable technologies. And now let's tie this all together. We talked about the importance of exercise and all the benefits. And then we jumped into looking at the different types of wearable, the different types of technologies that are available out there. And we talked about the wearable technologies. We looked at the smartwatches, and we talked about the Apple Watch, the Samsung Galaxy 6, the Google Pixel Watch, and the Fitbit as some examples. And we looked at the Sensoria sock as one of the gait analyzers, as well as the Under Armour shoe. Those will analyze your gait and give you information to help you with your walking. And then we talked about some of the key functions and features of each of the different wearable devices. And then we moved into apps, and we talked about some of the key apps that are available. And we talked about the Parkinson's Warrior app being for early Parkinson's. And then one of the recent ones that was developed by people with Parkinson's was the Walking Tall. And then we talked about things to consider when selecting wearable technology, and we looked at different things like battery life and how easy they are to use with your technologies, and the same with the apps. But it's also, we talked about the importance of seeking recommendations from people that are already using it and from your healthcare provider. And then finally, we looked at some of the challenges that you can have with wearable technologies, and then some of the solutions. So again, to really tie this all together, if you're going to use wearable technologies, you want to, again, pick exercises that are enjoyable and that you're committed to, because that's where you're going to get the maximum benefit. But choose wearable technologies that are going to be something that is beneficial for you. Again, I like to wear the wrist-worn devices because it's easy for me to look at throughout the day, and that track the things that you want to track and give you the information that you need. So if you want to keep it simple, don't go out and spend hundreds of extra dollars on technologies or features that you're not going to use. So I hope this was helpful in terms of wearable technologies as we go into the new year, and maybe you're designing an exercise program. So hopefully this will help give you some guidance on, if you decide to use a wearable, where to start and where to look. So as I close today, I would ask that you visit my website, liveparkinsons.com, and sign up for the free monthly newsletter. It's packed with a lot of information that you can use on a daily basis, and it talks about some of the webinars and seminars that are available as well. And then for those of you that are interested in the strategies that I've used for living a great life for the past 14 years with Parkinson's, I do have a book available on Amazon. It's called Spectacular Life: 4 Essential Strategies for Living with Parkinson's Disease, My Journey to Happiness. Again, I'd like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and I hope you great success in the new year, and I look forward to seeing you on future podcasts. Thank you.